Hi boys and girls, today we're going to be painting our little friend Blue Dog, okay? And the thing I wanted you to focus on most is this shape, the first shape we're going to make, which is the shape of his snout. Kind of like the shape of a vase, I think. So we're going to start with our blue paint, and we're just going to do kind of the outline of him, okay? So if we go up here closer to the top, but leaving room for his big long ears, I'm going to start right about in here, and I'm going to go make the number 11, a fairly big 11 actually, and then I'm going to make the bottom of the vase, which is kind of round like that. And I'm making it pretty big because I want him to have a big snout. So if you look at my paper, I don't know if you can see where the bottom is. See there? This is going to be his snout. It's fairly large. And then I'm going to do kind of a zigzaggy line right here at the top because that kind of makes it look furry. And for his eyes, I'm going to do two big circles on either side. So 1, 2, and then I need a dot in each eye, right? So dot, dot, and his nose is kind of like a rounded rectangle, I think. So I'm going to put a pretty big nose in there. And then for his head, we're going to start on one side of his snout and just circle around and come back to the other side of his snout. So here I go. Snout, circle around. Ooh, and if you run out of paint, just dip in it again. Okay, and you're just going to keep going until you run right back into his snout again. And then I just noticed we need to make his bottom part of his mouth. So there's just, I'm just going to go down just a little bit and circle back over. So kind of like a curved line right there to show where the bottom part of his mouth is. And then for his ears, I want these to be big and tall. So I'm going to start here on the side of his head, and I'm going to go all the way up towards the corner of my paper. And then I'm going to come back, but I don't want to make it too skinny in here. I want him to be kind of wide, so I'm going to come back kind of over here on the top of his head. We do the same thing here. I'm going to start on the top of his head, go up to the corner, and then I'm going to come down here. So I'm leaving some space between so that they're wider ears, so they look more like a dog's ears. Okay, and then I know his center of his ear is going to be dark, so I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit of darkness in there, like a dark triangle where the shadowy part of his ear would be. And then for his front legs, I'm going to start right underneath his eye here on the side of his head. I'm going to come down, make a little paw, so kind of curve around, and then come up about halfway. I'm not going to go all the way because this is where his chest and stomach is. I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to start right on the side of his head, come down, circle around, and then come up about halfway. And then I'm going to do a line that comes across, and this is where his chest and belly are. Now, I've done a couple different things. I'm going to show you this. So for his hind legs, you could just have his foot sticking out. You could have part of his leg there. This one, I actually made it look like his leg was bent. It's up to you how you want to do it. I think this time I'm just going to make it look like it's this is his body and this is his foot sticking out. And then on this side, same thing, only I think I'm just going to put a foot that would be coming out and his tail. Tail would be kind of like a triangle going up, I think, based on what I'm imagining his tail like. So there's my tail, my little feet sticking out. I could have just made this a foot sticking out because the front of his body is kind of covering up the back of his body. You don't really see that so much. Oh, you can't really see my feet. Yeah, so when you come down, swoop around, and come up about halfway. Down, swoop around. Okay. And then these little feet are just kind of like, oh, it's kind of like making an oval that's to the side, isn't it? Yep. Okay, now I'm ready to mix up my medium blue that I'm going to color him in with, okay? We'll add touches up here. He's got eyebrows. It almost looks like he has eyebrows above and below and around his eyes. But I'm going to do that after. So I'm going to save some of my dark blue. I'm going to save because I know I might need that for touch-ups. And I might need a little white for touch-ups too. So I'm going to save some of it. But I'm going to take some of the blue and some of the white, and I'm going to stir them into the middle here. Push some of them right into the center of the plate and stir, 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 and that's going to give me a medium blue. And I'm going to use that medium blue to paint in everything except his snout and his eyes. I don't want to color those in, so I'm just going to start up here while I'm thinking about that. I want to go around his eyes. Oh, that's pretty dark for medium blue. I'm going to add a little bit more white. I want it to be a little bit lighter. There we go. So I'm going to go around his eyes. I'm going to go up here above his snout, trying to leave my wiggly lines in there. Around his eye. And then I'm not going to paint his snout. Next we will add his eyebrows. So I'm going to take and dip into my dark blue, and he's got like eyebrows above his eye, and it looks like he's got them below. So I'm going to do them above and below. And he's got kind of like these little marks that are here and sometimes here. And sometimes you can see in some of his paintings he puts an eye, like a line even here and here. So almost like he's got shadows around his eyes like that. Okay? And then if you see any areas where when you painted you went over your dark blue lines, so I'm looking for some areas like on his tail here, you can do little touch-ups like that if you need to with your dark blue now that you're done with everything else. So like here, if I wanted to go back in, go back around that again here, just kind of cleaning up that nice outline that we had. If you got any blue, see how it kind of went over that? I can just touch it up really quick like that. Okay? Be sure to put yours on the drying rack when you are done and clean up your space. Next week we will paint the eyes yellow and use white to touch up the snout. Okay, now that our paint is dry, we are going to use yellow to paint our eyes. So you're going to just paint in that white area around Blue Dog's eyes. Try not to wake up the blue, okay? When you're painting around it, try not to touch the blue paint because it could turn green. And you can see right where that little dot is. Mine is a little bit green there because I woke up a little bit of the blue paint. Okay, and then if you need to make any touch-ups with white, let Mrs. Walker know if your snout needs some white, and I will get you some white to make those touch-ups.